What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So what in the world do we have going on here? Well, if you guys caught my video last week, it was actually on this rig here. This was my RTX 3080 rig that I built for Nosana. I've been testing out Nosana. If you guys aren't familiar, Nosana is an AI rental service. It's a single GPU rental service, and it's worked out pretty well. I tested it with this 3080, and while the 3080 isn't the most profitable card to use for AI, it was a really good test. I just wanted to see how it would run, what the community was like, what the rewards were like, how stable it was, what type of jobs I would get, and it went really well. If you guys aren't familiar, this is a 3900X with 64 gigabytes of memory, 1 terabyte NVMe, and the 3080. But I'm ready to kind of step it up a little bit. So I have this rig over here, and this is actually my kind of daily driver. This is my gaming computer. This is the computer I use for editing. This is kind of what I use every day for everything. And it's a little overkill. So it has a 5950X in it, 128 gigabytes of memory. It has a 2 terabyte NVMe, and it has a 3090. And I don't really use the 3090 to the full extent, to be honest with you, for what I'm doing. So what we're going to go through today is I'm going to be taking out my 3090, which has 24 gigabytes of VRAM, and we're going to be putting in this 570. Now you might be like, what are you doing? A 3090, so much better. And it is, but for what I'm doing in this computer, I think the 5070 is going to be just fine. It's pretty comparable, except for, of course, the VRAM. So we're kind of going to play hot potato here a little bit. 5070 is going to go into our daily driver. The 3090, and I'm just thinking about this now looking at it, I hope it fits into this rig here. We will absolutely see. It's going to be a tight fit for sure. Because I want to run the 3090 on Nosana, see how that runs for about a month with the 24 gigabytes of VRAM. I think it's going to be a lot more profitable. And if you're like, what the heck is Nosana? Check out the link directly down below or the card in the upper right-hand corner for that video. I'm going to pop the 3080 out of here. And we have these two Dell Precision, they're Xeon processor towers. They have 128 gigabytes of memory. I might as well put them to work. I have them. So I'm actually going to put that 3080 right into this rig here and put this up on Nosana. But we have a lot of rigs here, a lot of work to be done. We're not going to do all of that in today's video. So in today's video, we're just going to get the 5070 in and the 3090 moved over and hope that Nosana goes ahead, recognizes it, and re-benchmarks it, and I don't have to redo the entire rig. So let's get to work. Real talk. How many of us have more than one credit card and still miss out on points, perks, or cash back? Yeah, guilty right here. But that's where MaxRewards.com completely changes the game. Max Rewards isn't just a tracker. It's like your credit card's personal assistant. It tells you exactly which card to use for maximum rewards at every store you walk into. Starbucks, gas stations, online shopping, boom, maximized. You link your cards and the app syncs balances, tracks rewards, and shows hidden benefits most of us never even use, like extended warranties or travel credits, and even reminds you when your bonus categories change. No more leaving money on the table. If you're serious about getting the most from your cards, whether you're stacking points for a trip or just want that sweet cash back, Max Rewards makes it effortless. Try it free with sign-up code Hobbyist by following the link in the video description or scan this QR code and start using your cards like a pro. This segment is sponsored by MaxRewards.com. Please do your own research and make smart financial decisions. Check out the size difference in these cards. So here is the 5070, and it's wild to see that, like, how small this is. Now it does have the crazy connector there. It did come with the cable, which is nice, that you guys can see here, and it's got the two 8 pins on this side. So I will have to swap it out. This is our 3090 cable. It's like an aftermarket one that we ended up picking up at some point along our journey. So we'll have to take off the back plate and grab that. And then even here on our 580, it has its own, this one's actually nicer with like a braided cable. But then look at this. Here's our 3080, okay? So, all right. But then look at the 3090. Holy cow, it is. Now the 3090 takes up 3 slots total versus our 3080, which is only 2. And that's where my concern was fitting the 3090 in here. We can get in down here, but the issue is this right here. It goes to some of this, so I might have to unplug a few things. I don't know, we'll have to see. Let me see what I can figure out. All right, so the 5070, it looks so small inside of our setup here, but it actually ended up working out well. And the cables directly off the power supply just worked out perfectly. I really just had to swap these out and off we went. Now, you might see down there another card. I actually installed and bought a handful of 5 gig NICs. They weren't super expensive, $25, $30 off of Amazon. And you might be like, 5 gig, what are you doing? Well, I just got 5x5 fiber here at the house. Now, none of my internal network supports it yet, but I might as well install these while I can, while I'm taking these things apart, you know, to kind of future-proof, and we'll see. 5 gig switches are crazy expensive. So even if they can benefit from 2.5, that would work out really, really well, especially with some of this AI stuff that we're doing. Now, the 3090, man, looks so big inside of this little case, but it did end up fitting. But as I was putting this in, I got concerned on my power supply. I didn't remember, like, to think about, like, oh man, like, what's the size of the power supply in this thing? Will it support the 3090? Thankfully, this is a 1000 watt EVGA. Same thing with the one over here. It's actually the 1000G plus. It's actually in the basement setup here. It actually, I think that's what the bottom's called here, but I love these design. It keeps it very, very clean. Are these super easy to work on when you're getting into this stuff? Not necessarily, but it does keep the towers nice and clean. I know a lot of other people really like the open rig AI setups. Maybe we'll go to that into the future. We'll absolutely have to see. Bummer on this one, and I may end up going to larger cases, even though I like the Asus Prime cases. I may end up going with larger cases just to be able to fit some of these, maybe different motherboard with the 3090. This is kind of the first rendition, so we're kind of learning as we go here, but I do want to end up getting this in some of my AI rigs here, which will work out well. So let me get this installed on my computer. I'll do this off camera. I'm going to get new drivers installed for the 5070 and make sure the driver is installed for the NIC. And then I want to get this powered up right here on the workbench and make sure that it does end up benchmarking and does recognize the 3090, especially for Nosana. Our 5070 rig is back up and running, got clean drivers installed, and it's good to go back at my desk. Here's our 3090 Nosana rig. I'm excited about this. So we have Ethernet plugged in, no 5 gig unfortunately. Let's go ahead and get our power plugged in. And we do have AC power on, and let's go ahead and get it booted up there. I love the RGB memory. That's 64 gigabytes of memory in this. Now, there is 1 terabyte of NVMe. I'm thinking about going to 2 terabytes. It seems like a lot of these AI platforms, like the minimum is like a 1 terabyte drive, because sometimes there's those bigger jobs. So it's something to keep in mind for the future. My 3080, we're going to save this for a future video. We're going to install it into this. This is a Dell Precision 5810. And it has a Xeon, I think it's like an E5 or something like that that's in this. And the 128 gigabytes of memory are entirely overkill, and I get it. It actually was something that I was building for the Flux AI stuff, and that's just never really took off. We are using the veteran miner cables in this, and so I have this hardware, so I might as well test it out. So in a future video, we're gonna test out the 3080 here and see how it does. And actually, I can hear the fans on, I think that's the 3090 fans. Oh yeah, I can feel the air coming out. Interesting. All right, let's jump over to the computer because we can take a look at this and see what's going on. All right, so taking a look on this computer, the one that we went ahead and put the 5070 in, you can see that it is reading it properly, 5070 at 12 gigs. Look at that, 128 gigabytes of memory at 3600 and the Ryzen 9 5950X. This thing is a beast. Now, a little hard to see. I'll zoom in here. Our speeds right now on the NIC card that we installed, it is just 1 gig because the switches that I have don't support 5 gig or anything even higher than 1 gig. But you can see over here, it is recognizing that card. It says 5 gigabyte over on the right-hand side. All right, so here is our rig. I'm just going to go ahead and refresh it. Now, I am totally a noob when it comes to Linux, so I took the shortcut or the cheated route and installed HiveOS, which you can then jump in and install Nosana on. Once again, if you guys are interested in learning how to install Nosana and everything, go ahead and check out the link directly down below, as that has the full video that I did on this. Well, first thing I need to do is change the name, because it's no longer my Nosana rig 3080. We now have a 3090 in here, so we'll update that. Granted, it's my only rig in my farm currently right now. Now, the other thing I saw, I was looking at here, which this isn't quite updated yet. This is actually the dashboard for my, they call him host on Nosana. And it says it's running a deployment. However, the availability is unknown, probably because it was offline. And it did say it was running a job, so oops. But we will go ahead and let's get things kicked off. So the nice thing is as I said, Hive OS is kind of that shortcut for Linux, especially for newbies. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the Hive shell. And that's where we're actually going to kick off Nosana with their bash command. All right, so it's my understanding that when I do this, it will re-benchmark it on the Nosana platform, which is exactly what we want. Because right now, if we go up here, it's still reading a 3080. So let's go ahead and let's paste in our command here, which will go ahead. It's the bash command. It does a get, and it reaches out to Nosana and does the start. And let's hit enter and see what we get. So while we're waiting for everything to go ahead and start up, I wanted to show you guys. So this is within the Nosana Explorer dashboard, and there's two different kind of categories. You have community, and then you also have premium. And it's actually pretty easy to get bumped from community to premium. I talk about this in my last video where I go much more in depth on Nosana. They actually do a manual check of every rig that comes on the network to make sure it meets all the criteria before it'll move from community to premium. But there's definitely a reward difference between the two. But I wanted to show you guys, for the 3080, we were at 9.6 per hour versus now, when we take a look for our 3090, we're at 19.2. So pretty dang close. I mean, 19 cents an hour at that point, which puts us right around about $4.60 a day if we are rented every single hour. All right, so it's gone ahead and actually swapped over. You can see in the upper right-hand corner, I'll zoom in because it is super small. They definitely need a dark mode. But you can see now it is classifying it as a 3090, which is great. And it doesn't say community, which means I've held my premium status, which I love to see that. And it is currently running at the moment, which is awesome. All right, I'll keep you guys updated on how we're out with this 3090 on Nosana. Probably in about a month or so, we'll have to see. And I'm eager to jump into this one coming up here in the next week or two. I do want to get the 5 gig card installed. I do have a 2 terabyte hard drive as well to put in this, and we'll see how some of this old hardware works out. All right, see you guys next time. Are you ready to invest in your next Bitcoin miner, but unsure where to start? Look no further than compassmining.io. Why choose Compass Mining? 3 reasons. Number 1, an effortless buying experience. Their state-of-the-art website and secure checkout process make purchasing your Bitcoin miner a breeze. Number 2, their expert guidance. Unsure which Bitcoin miner is right for you? Their friendly, knowledgeable team based in the US is here to help. Number 3, their hosting solutions. Need a place to host your new Bitcoin miners? Compass Mining has over 20 partner locations across the United States. I recently visited their Nebraska facility in December and now host several Bitmain Antminer S21s and S19K Pros at Compass. The experience was fantastic. Ready to learn more? Visit the link down below to set up a free one-on-one consultation with a Compass Mining team member, or watch the full Nebraska mining farm tour down below. Start your Bitcoin mining journey today with Compass Mining.